Sometimes you don't realize the moment everything changes until you're standing right in the middle of it. And for me, that moment came in complete silence. I was married for 9 years, 9 long, complicated, beautiful, and sometimes heartbreaking years to a woman I truly loved, or at least I thought I did, or maybe I just loved the version of her I created in my head, the woman who used to laugh at my stupid jokes, who danced barefoot in the kitchen while I made coffee, who used to grab my hand in the car for no reason, the one who once looked at me like I was the only man in the world, but somewhere along the way, something changed. Maybe it was the stress. Maybe life just got too loud, and we stopped listening to each other. Or maybe we simply grew apart and didn't even notice. Until the silence between us became louder than the words we didn't say. It started with the little things. She stopped texting me during the day like she used to, stopped asking me how I was when I got home, stopped looking up from her phone when I spoke. And then one night, when I reached for her hand in bed, she pulled away and said, "Not tonight," and I remember just lying there, staring at the ceiling like, damn, what did I do wrong? I didn't even argue. I just turned over and tried to sleep with a lump in my throat, convincing myself that she was just tired, but "not tonight" became a pattern, a routine, and eventually, it wasn't just physical, it was emotional too. She wasn't there anymore. Not really, her body was, but her heart felt like it had packed its bags a long time ago, and what hurt the most wasn't the lack of intimacy. It was the feeling that I had become invisible in my own home, like I was just a shadow of someone she used to love, and during all this, her sister Olivia had moved in with us temporarily after a breakup. Yeah, the same Olivia who used to be wild in college, full of life, full of rebellion, but this time, she seemed different, quieter, more thoughtful, and honestly, we didn't talk much at first, but every now and then we'd cross paths in the kitchen late at night, both of us grabbing water, half asleep, just exchanging small talk, until one night, Emily had gone to bed early again. Phone glued to her hand, back turned to me. I stood at the door, holding a blanket like some kind of peace offering, and she just muttered those words again. "Not tonight," and I swear this time, it broke something in me, not anger, not hate, just this hollow sadness, this ache that I couldn't shake. I walked out to the hallway, heart heavy, and Olivia was there, just standing by the stairs with a glass of water. She looked at me for a long moment, and I think she saw it in my face, the tiredness, the rejection, the loneliness I tried to hide from everyone else. She tilted her head and whispered, "You okay?" And I nodded, because that's what men are trained to do, to pretend we're okay, pretend we don't care when the woman we love doesn't see us anymore, pretend we're not dying inside. And then she did something that completely caught me off guard. She stepped closer, looked me in the eyes, and whispered, "What if I said right now?" And in that moment, time slowed down. I didn't move, didn't speak, because I didn't know if she was serious, or if this was some kind of test, or a joke, or just sympathy, but the way she looked at me, it wasn't pity, it wasn't manipulation, it was understanding, a kind of empathy I hadn't felt in years, and I turned around and walked away because I knew if I stayed there another second, I might do something I couldn't undo, and believe it or not, I didn't tell anyone about that moment for months. I kept it buried deep, ashamed that part of me had even considered it, but that moment haunted me not because of temptation, but because it showed me how far I had fallen, how far we both had fallen, me and Emily, how we'd become strangers, living under one roof but miles apart, and eventually, I sat her down and told her everything, not about Olivia, but about how I felt, about how I missed her, missed us, missed the love that used to be so loud and effortless. And you know what she said? Nothing, just stared at me like she was waiting for me to finish talking so she could go back to her phone, and I remember thinking, this is it, this is the moment I stop fighting for someone who won't even reach out their hand while I'm drowning. So I moved out a week later. No screaming, no drama, just a quiet goodbye. And Olivia? She left too, said she didn't want to be in the middle, and we didn't talk for a long time, but months later, I got a message from her, just a simple, "Hey, how are you doing?" And we met for coffee, no expectations, no pressure, just two people who'd both been hurt, trying to find a little peace. And now, a year later, we're not together, not in a romantic way, but we talk honestly, deeply, and I've come to realize that what I wanted wasn't another woman, it was connection, truth, someone who saw me. And while Olivia was the one who whispered those words, the real message came from my own heart, asking me if I was okay, if I was happy, if I was truly living. And that whisper became a wake-up call, because sometimes we stay in places that stopped being home a long time ago, just because we're afraid of what comes next. But the truth is, healing only begins when you stop pretending you're not broken. And I'm still healing, still learning, but I'm finally breathing again. And if you've ever felt invisible in a relationship, if you've ever stood in front of someone you love and felt like a ghost, I want you to know you deserve to be seen, you deserve to be held, not just touched, to be heard, not just tolerated. And if this story felt even a little bit like your story, maybe that's not a coincidence. Maybe it's a sign. Maybe it's time to ask yourself, are you really okay, or are you just surviving? Don't wait until someone whispers a wake-up call in the dark. Listen to your own voice, and if this story touched your heart even for a second, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, because I've got more real stories, real pain, real growth coming your way, and maybe, just maybe, one of them will be the story that sets you free.